Something strange has happened to my body these past 2 months. It genuinely surprised me. I feel leaner, stronger, and far more recovered than I have in years. Nothing else really changed. No new drugs, no new training program at all. Just one overlooked window, used correctly and consistently. What I found when I dug into the research shocked me. It explained everything I felt. For weeks, I couldn't explain why my soreness had almost disappeared. My routine stayed the same. I was training just as hard, sometimes even harder than before, being held back. Legs didn't feel wrecked the next morning, and my sleep also improved noticeably. My energy stayed steady through the entire day. Something inside my cells had clearly shifted. So I started reading everything I could find on this subject. I needed real answers. Clinical trials, muscle biopsy studies, dense biochemistry papers most people never bother opening. I opened them all. What I discovered wasn't about adding more stress to an already demanding schedule. It was different. It was about respecting a free window most people never even know exists. That window matters. Once you understand this window, everything about training and recovery starts looking different. Completely different, actually. Most nobody talks. Your hardest training days already push mitochondria hard. These tiny structures inside your muscle cells work overtime just to keep up with demand. Piling more stimulants or aggressive compounds on top of that doesn't help you recover faster. It backfires. In many cases, it makes the internal cell significantly worse instead of better overall. Think of your mitochondria like a small engine, single cell, flywheel. That flywheel spins and generates the usable energy the entire cell needs to function properly and efficiently. When you rev that flywheel too aggressively, through hard training plus certain performance compounds, it overspins. That excessive speed generates damage and genuine cellular stress across an extended period of time. Researchers studying elite athletes measured this directly through muscle biopsies after extreme bouts of exercise. They tracked everything. They found hydrogen peroxide production spiking well above baseline during and after intense sessions. Significantly, that's a story most people ignore when thinking about recovery. It matters enormously. You generate real oxygen under hard effort. Automatically negative. Not at all. It's part of the biological signal your body needs to trigger meaningful long-term adaptation. Without that stress signal, your muscles simply wouldn't get resilient over time. The signal matters. Blindly taking high-dose antioxidants during a training block can backfire. Quietly, too, if on the surface, Autophagy tells a very different story entirely. Controlled clinical trials show that flooding your system with vitamin C or E blunts adaptation significantly. In fact, you end up with quieter cells but noticeably weaker long-term training results overall. Now stack lasted training of that same existing stress. It compounds fast. When your body burns fat, and mitochondria oxidize fatty acids for fuel. That process differs. That process produces even more oxidative stress, glucose-based fuel sources. Notably more, actually. It's genuinely incredible for long-term metabolic adaptation, but harder on your cells. Much harder, really, so if you train fasted, eat low-carb, and push intensity hard, mitochondria run very close. There simply isn't to absorb additional stress safely on those days. Almost none. Honestly, Adding aggressive mitochondria same demanding days doesn't address at all. It hurts instead. Instead, it pushes your cells past a healthy stress zone into genuine oxidative damage. Real, measurable damage. You're essentially revving an engine that is running under pressure. Go. While it's still spinning that fast, down. It stays hot. The question isn't how to during an already. That's the real question is when your body's cellular damage once is everything. That single timing detail changes almost everything about a genuinely level. Everything. Most people stacking understanding when those supplements should be used. Timing gets a study published in Nature, a clever fluorescent tagging system to track damage removal. Researchers this cellular unfold in real time after exercise. Fascinating stuff. Honestly, the peak of this process, mitophagy, happens after training ends. Afterward, this window matters enormously, and it's far longer than most people assume it should. 6 full hours. You're doing absolutely nothing intentional during that specific window. It goes completely unused, sadly. Specific proteins drive this entire cleanup process at the pink one. They physically tag damaged mitochondria destruction removal from muscle tissue. That's their job. Research proteins stay for 8 hours after nearly 2 hours of active cellular cleanup happening quietly in the background. Invisible, but constant. In other words, your body isn't during the actual workout itself. It happens later. It's doing that critical repair work in the hours and days that follow instead. Quietly, consistently, reliably. A separate scientific review confirmed this exact pattern clearly across multiple independent studies. The pattern holds up. Muscle regeneration after exercise depends heavily on rapid turnover of poorly functioning, damaged mitochondria. Turnover drives everything. That turnover is precisely what allows healthier, more efficient mitochondria to take their place. New for old. This is exactly where a compound called Urolithin A enters the picture. It fits perfectly. It's technically classified as a postbiotic, something gut bacteria naturally produce from certain polyphenols. Fascinating origin. Honestly, pomegranate happens to be the most well-studied and reliable source of these polyphenols. The classic source. Your gut bacteria break them down step by step, eventually forming urolithin A itself. A gradual process. Here's the catch that almost nobody mentions when discussing this compound publicly. A big catch. Research published in a respected clinical nutrition journal found something surprising about conversion rates. Genuinely surprising, actually. Over 60% of people simply cannot efficiently convert pomegranate compounds into usable urolithin A. Most people, really, microbiome variability alone can block this entire conversion pathway completely, regardless of intake amount. That's exactly why direct supplementation becomes so relevant for most people. It solves the problem. It bypasses that frustrating biological bottleneck completely, sidestepping the unreliable conversion process entirely. A clean workaround. Direct supplementation delivers dramatically higher plasma exposure compared to simply drinking pomegranate juice instead. Far higher, actually. The difference in actual bioavailability is genuinely significant according to multiple publications. What urolithin A does inside your body is same PINK1 and Parkin pathway. Directly activates it. It's not introducing something entirely foreign into your biological system at all. Nothing foreign here. It's amplifying a natural process your cells are already actively trying to run themselves. Just amplifying it. A randomized controlled trial published in Cell Reports Medicine gave adults urolithin A for months. 4 full months. Researchers tracked multiple biological markers throughout the entire duration of that extended clinical trial. Muscle biopsies afterward showed clearly increased levels of active Parkin protein in tissue. A meaningful increase. That's the exact molecule responsible for tagging damaged mitochondria for removal and replacement. Its core function, essentially, Participants also showed dose-dependent increases in electron transport chain proteins overall. Dose-dependent, notably, that's the cellular machinery responsible for actual energy production inside every mitochondria present. The real engine room. Functionally speaking, researchers see a 12% improvement in overall muscle strength. A real number. That's a substantial, measurable outcome from a single targeted intervention over 4 months. Not trivial at all. That's not a placebo effect. And it's certainly not just wishful thinking either. Real biology. Measured. That's measurable mitochondrial efficiency showing up in blood markers and physical performance testing. Both lines of evidence. The underlying mechanism lines up almost perfectly with what users of this compound report. Anecdotes match the science. Reduced soreness, better sleep quality, and noticeably improved recovery between demanding consistent report. Instead of taking a fixed dose every single day like most guidance suggests, aiming over matching supplementation directly to that 48-hour repair cycle changes overall effectiveness meaningfully. A real difference. Timing, not just dosage, seems to be the real variable worth paying close attention to. The actual lever. The core idea here is refreshing to understand the underlying biology involved. Simple. Urolithin A, stress training, time, the natural body runs during goal, during window, primed support. Perfect. Compared to aggressive stimulants some people cycle through. A different approach entirely. Many of those compounds spin up an already overworked system even harder than before, making things worse. That approach creates additional oxidative stress rather than resolving the existing underlying problem. Your body can rebuild healthier structures. Clean, then rebuild. It's undoing existing accumulated damage rather than adding more intensity on top of stress. Repair, not addition. That distinction matters enormously if your actual goal involves long-term recovery quality. A crucial distinction, really, clearing damaged mitochondria and rebuilding healthier ones is fundamentally different from simply pushing harder.